CryptoQ Media, I appreciate you coming back to my station. Many believe that Ripple's recent $1.4 billion stock repurchase is a sign of an upcoming very bullish IPO, which the company is well aware will lead to a dramatic increase in its value. In my opinion, the evaluation is incorrect. From my point of view, it's not a bad thing. But I don't think it's the main reason they act the way they do. We will address that first, then go on to today's heavy schedule. Almost every industry was impacted by a massive computer crash, including finance, healthcare, and aviation. Listen up, folks, this one's big. Reportedly, an update to CrowdStrike was the cause. Even though I normally avoid reading about tech or the government, this one makes a good point about how our systems are weak and how reliant on these networks we are for our daily lives. A quote from the great Hugo Filarun has been left for us. Flair claims that the initial release of Bitcoin occurred 15 years ago. Would there have been a product that could have prevented today's global outage? Given the current state of blockchain technology, one saw that a lot of people are saying that XRP is still running. RippleNet was probably also affected, even if the ledger is up and running. Let alone the additional computer systems that need to conduct the transaction, these blockchains simply cannot handle the amount of global payments at this time. Hence, it was not possible to implement this approach. The need for decentralized solutions that aren't too reliant on any one design becomes apparent, though, more redundancy is necessary. The good news is that the infrastructures that enable cryptocurrency are far from dormant. Just as expected, it happened. Does anyone know why some politicians you're familiar with are now showing interest in cryptocurrency? The next narrative will show that President Trump asked for 844,000. As an additional 60,000 to 100,000, photo opportunities during the Bitcoin conference can be arranged. There is a surplus of cash. Not to mention how important it is, the Black Rock show at Fidelity is yours to rock out to. Their ambition to gain admission is high. You have already secured the support of everyone who will vote for you, and this is an essential item for them. It is motivated by financial reasons, just like anything else. Many think this person doesn't care about cryptocurrencies, but it's clear that's not the case. That is how things work. It doesn't matter if it's defense spending or their inherent dislike of the American healthcare system or any of the other associated industries, what matters is power and money. It doesn't matter whether a politician has always been pro-crypto because of the power and wealth that come with cryptocurrencies. New ideas will always discover a method. Mosseri, the VP, the 2-bit idiot, Mosseri as CEO, Ryan Selukis has decided to step down. Someone who was formerly my worst nemesis blocked me on Twitter, but now I'm okay with Ryan and like Mosseri, so maybe I should unblock them. I think it's overpriced, despite the fact that I use it sometimes. Nevertheless, he did what he usually does and let his emotions dictate his actions. Needless to say, he was not named CEO because of the highly charged remarks he made on Facebook. It is now his moment to retire. This Ripple buyback is something I'd like to bring up, alright. Furthermore, my statement from earlier today is still valid. In my opinion, Ripple's decision to repurchase $1.4 billion worth of stock is neither optimistic nor indicative of massive event planning. So far, that is the reasoning that has been advanced. They get it out of their kindergarten budget book. The company is trying to boost its earnings per share by purchasing back shares in anticipation of an initial public offering IPO, correct? You have to wonder why they dropped over $1.4 billion for a share in the company. Could you tell me how its worth could rise in your opinion? What is the expected profit from their IPO? Is that something people genuinely consider? I think Ripple will follow Coinbase's example, as it is clear that Ripple does not need additional funding. Recent share repurchasing by the corporation totaled $1.4 billion, reflecting its expectation of an IPO and subsequent capital raising. Pay attention. This $10 to $12 billion enterprise could easily perform the maths on their own. What percentage of the company would they sell if they went public? Only recently did they shell out $1.4 billion. In addition, how much additional money would they get because of their choice? In addition, what if you have the means to accomplish this? Is having extra cash really essential, considering how much XRP they already have? Look, our equity is worth more than more money, Coinbase said in response to an investor FAQ. More money is not required. So, they issued stock options to their long-term investors and employees and proceeded with a direct listing. There was a ready market to sell into, and the general public was keen to invest. On the other hand, Coinbase chose not to go public. Not a single share was made available to investors. Once again, they have a substantial amount of liquid XRP and cash on hand, so they likely won't require further funding if they choose that path. If they weren't intending to raise cash by going public, would they really invest $1.4 billion to ensure those shareholders a slight rise in their direct listing? Something is clearly wrong here. What the HCK is going on? It doesn't seem too complicated to me. As you may have noticed, Tetragon has taken legal action against Ripple. Regardless of the outcome of the settlement talks or the judge's ruling, the SEC stands to gain one. In that case, they prevailed. Nevertheless, after this issue is settled with the FCC, there are significant investors who, because of their long-term commitment, will challenge the corporation forcefully. As a safety net, they might also think about selling their Ripples. There will be less room for error and a more informed choice as a result of this. Are you requesting to be removed? Take this sum of money. It was a windfall for us. In order to prevent this issue in the future, it's a wise business decision. All I'm trying to express is that it has no other significance. Finally, after this case concludes, a class action lawsuit will very certainly be filed. Because the $1.4 billion will not go to the large players who may cause problems, this would benefit the smaller stockholders. Once the class action case begins, it is expected to continue for some time and remain largely under the radar. It won't be a big deal because they will probably pay him. But what they're doing now just takes risk out of the picture, in my opinion. I believe Ripple will go public. In fact, I anticipate that they will start generating significant buzz about it before the end of next year in anticipation of it. It will take time for them to finish developing their on-demand liquidity business, launch and start making money from their custody business which they just released today, and demonstrate that they can generate substantial revenue from sources other than selling XRP before they can expand into crypto beyond payments. In my opinion, they will carry out their plan as planned. But until you have those things sorted, I don't think you should think about going public. Because it would be extremely concerning if, just before going public, they disclosed their financials and claimed that they generated all of their revenue from the sale of XRP. Also, in regard to demand liquidity, we are losing money and not making much money. It would be a living nightmare, and that's before we even mention the abundance of other great ideas we have that may be huge hits. We are not going to do it is their exact word. After devoting the last many years to resolving that legal issue, they have now moved on. Now that they are prepared to develop and mature, I also think they will be successful. But it's not instantaneous. About 1.4 billion. My impression is that it's just taking a risk out of the equation. What a brilliant choice. In my opinion, it does not herald the imminent occurrence of anything significant. If you're new to my channel and have just subscribed, I appreciate it. Until then, take care.